Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something bold. Have you ever felt like giving up? Like the world rewarded cruelty while punishing kindness? Have you ever watched someone dishonest rise, while those who stood for what's right were left behind? If you've ever been there, even for a second, don't look away now, because this isn't just a speech. It's a fire starter for every soul who's been underestimated, overlooked, or told they're too nice to win. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear isn't motivational fluff. It's a reminder that in the long game of life, the good do not just survive, they triumph. There's something deeply reassuring about the way light works. It doesn't shout, it doesn't force itself into a room, it simply arrives, and darkness disappears. That's it. No argument, no chaos, just quiet, undeniable change. This is the nature of light, and just like that, goodness behaves the same way. Quiet, often unnoticed in the beginning, but ultimately impossible to ignore. In the world we live in, darkness sometimes looks like it's winning. It takes over the headlines, commands the stage, and often seduces people with shortcuts, cruelty, and clever masks. It's loud, it's fast, and for a while it seems unbeatable, but the thing about darkness is, it's only the absence of light. It has no form, no power of its own. It survives only where light has not yet reached. Goodness, on the other hand, works differently. It is not explosive. It doesn't demand recognition. In fact, real good often walks alone. It suffers in silence. It helps without asking for applause. It shows up even when no one is watching. But when the moment comes, when the world needs saving, healing, rebuilding, it is goodness that steps forward, always. You see, darkness can scare people. It can even change people. It can make them doubt the value of doing the right thing. It can trick them into believing that being kind, honest, and fair is naive or weak. But remember this, light always pierces darkness. It doesn't matter how long the night lasts or how heavy the shadows feel. The smallest spark of integrity, courage, or compassion can shift everything. And it's not just poetic metaphor, it's lived reality. History, literature, and personal lives are full of examples. Those who stayed true, those who didn't compromise even when they stood alone, are the ones we remember with respect. And why? Because they held the light when it would have been easier to switch it off. There will be times in your life when you will be tempted to let the darkness win. You will be betrayed, lied to, taken for granted. You'll watch people win using tricks you never allowed yourself to touch. And in those moments you'll ask, what's the point of being good if it doesn't get me ahead? That's the test. That's the exact moment your light is being challenged. And how you respond then, that's what defines you. Because eventually the world does notice. Maybe not immediately, maybe not loudly, but it sees the person who didn't give up on decency. It watches the one who stayed honest when it cost them everything. And in time, people come to realize that light is not weakness. It is power in its purest form, the strongest kind, the kind that can't be faked and certainly can't be bought. Have you ever walked into a completely dark room and lit a candle? You don't need to chase the darkness out. It just leaves. That's the nature of light. You don't have to fight every battle to prove your worth. You just have to shine consistently, quietly, and bravely. And that's what I want you to carry with you, no matter the noise around you, no matter the unfairness of the moment you're stuck in. Keep being light. Keep doing the right thing even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. Because in that pain, you're not being punished. You're being purified. The world isn't ignoring you. It's watching how long your light will burn, and when it all clears, when the games end, the masks fall, and the dust settles, it is always the light that remains. It is always the good that people turn to for healing, for truth, for leadership. Maybe not first, but eventually, and completely. So if you're tired, if you're struggling, if you're wondering whether your goodness is enough, remember this. Light doesn't need permission to shine. And when it does, even the deepest darkness can't hold its ground. Let the world be as it is. You keep being the light. Every story that's ever moved us, every hero we've ever admired, every triumph that has echoed through time, what do they all have in common? Struggle, not the kind that's dramatic for the sake of attention, but the deep, personal kind, the kind that breaks you down just enough to see what you're really made of, the kind that doesn't ask for permission, it simply arrives, uninvited and unrelenting. We like to think heroes are born, but the truth is, they're made, not in moments of applause or in the glare of the spotlight, but in the shadows, in quiet pain, in lonely nights, in the battles no one else sees. Because struggle, while uncomfortable, is the furnace where strength is forged. There is no shortcut to growth. There is no fast track to greatness. Every person who ever stood on a mountaintop first had to crawl through a valley. And not just once, repeatedly, because life doesn't test you once and call it a day. It keeps checking. How much do you believe in what you say you want? How deeply do you trust your values when they cost you comfort? How long can you hold your ground when everything around you tries to shake it? It's in these moments that struggle does its work. It strips away the surface. It humbles the ego. It removes the noise. And once all that's gone, what's left is your core, your real self. That's where the hero begins. Think about it. The people we admire the most didn't have easy paths. They didn't coast through life with open doors and endless applause. They fought, they stumbled, they were doubted, criticized, and often broken before they ever became anything worth remembering. And you know what shaped them, not the victories, not the end results, but the hard days. The rejection, the fear, the silence, the struggle, because struggle teaches what comfort never can. It teaches resilience, it teaches patience, it teaches humility, it shows you that failure doesn't kill you, it instructs you. That setbacks aren't dead ends. They are redirections, that being knocked down is not the same as being knocked out, and that every time you rise again, you become harder to break. You see, pain has a purpose. Not to destroy you, but to develop you. You don't lift your way to inner strength through compliments and perfect days. You earn it by going through what would crush most people, and choosing to keep walking. And there will be days when it doesn't feel fair, when you'll watch others succeed without putting in half the effort, when you'll question if you're the fool for caring, for trying, for doing things the right way. But hold on to this. Those who cheat the process never become the real thing. They build castles in sand and time, life and truth. They all have a way of bringing waves, so if you're struggling right now, don't run from it. Lean into it. Don't ask why it's happening to you. Ask what it's revealing in you, what it's building, because heroes are not sculpted in stillness. They're shaped by pressure. And you may not see it now, but every scar you're collecting, every failure you're facing, every bit of pain you're carrying, it's not wasted. It's sharpening you. It's strengthening your spirit. It's preparing you for moments that others won't be ready for. And when your time comes, and it will, you won't need to pretend to be strong. You'll already be strong. You won't have to fake confidence. You'll have earned it. You won't have to shout to prove your worth. Your presence will speak for itself. That's what struggle gives you, not just survival, but transformation. You become someone who doesn't just win, but who deserves to win, and when that happens, people don't just admire you, they believe in you. Because you've walked through the fire and come out not burned, but forged. So don't fear the struggle, respect it, endure it, learn from it, because every great story needs tension. Every great soul needs resistance. And every hero, every real, lasting, grounded hero needs to be shaped by something greater than success. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. Every struggle is carving you into the kind of person who won't just make it, but who will matter. And that is how the hero is born. There's a truth the world sometimes tries to bury under headlines, shortcuts, and applause for the wrong people. But it still stands strong. Karma never forgets. It doesn't wear a watch, it doesn't rush, it doesn't post warnings, but it moves quietly, consistently, unshakably. Every word you speak, every choice you make, every action you take, it all adds up. And while it may not always show results immediately, it never disappears into nothing. Karma remembers. We live in a time where people are often celebrated for what they get away with, not what they stand for. Where manipulation is called strategy, cruelty is masked as power, and lying is just playing the game. And in that noise, it's easy to believe that decency is outdated, that doing the right thing is foolish, that integrity is for dreamers. But don't be fooled. The universe is always keeping score. Just not on your timeline. Karma is not about revenge. It's not about punishing or rewarding instantly. It's about balance, about returning to you exactly what you give, not in the form you expect, but in the energy you created. You speak hate, you attract bitterness. You act selfishly, you invite isolation. You move with truth, kindness, and loyalty. Eventually, life opens doors no one can shut. That's not superstition, that's rhythm. That's law. You might not see someone face the consequences of their actions the day after they hurt you. In fact, it might look like they're thriving, smiling, winning, and you'll wonder, did it even matter? Did the pain they caused just vanish into the air? Did the world just move on? But here's what karma knows that we sometimes forget. Timing is everything. Karma is never in a hurry because it's always accurate. Some lessons can't be rushed. Some truths take time to reveal themselves. And while the world claps for surface success, karma waits for depth. It knows that a lie might win the moment, but truth wins the legacy. It knows that cruelty might build empires, but only love builds peace. Sooner or later, everyone gets called to answer for the energy they put into the world. That's why you don't need to waste your energy chasing justice for every wrong done to you. Life is listening. You don't need to scream to be heard. You don't need to fight dirty to survive. You just need to stay clean, to move with clarity, to do what's right, even when no one is clapping, because while the world forgets, karma remembers. And what's meant for you doesn't need to be stolen. It just needs you to keep walking without sinking. Every moment you choose honesty over shortcuts, every time you remain kind when it would be easier to get even, every time you keep your word, even if it costs you, you are building something karma cannot ignore. You're writing a quiet contract with the universe, that you are not here to play dirty, you are here to live fully, with depth, with dignity. There are people who will never understand this. They'll mistake your silence for weakness. They'll call your patience naivety. They'll tell you that the world doesn't reward kindness. Let them talk, because eventually karma will do the talking for you. The truth is, you can lie to people. You can lie to yourself for a while, but you can't lie to energy. You can't lie to time. You can't lie to life. What you sow, you reap. Not always in the way you expect, but always in the way you need. And the good you've done, the good you're still doing, is working, even if you can't see it yet, even if no one says thank you, even if you feel alone while doing it. Keep going, keep giving, keep believing. Because karma is not blind, karma is simply patient, and when it shows up in ways that remind the world that goodness was never a mistake. It was just waiting for the right time to rise, so let others take shortcuts. Let them choose their paths, you walk yours, with your head high and your hands clean, because you don't need to chase what's meant for you. You just need to live in a way that makes it undeniable, and remember this always. Karma never forgets. Patience, it's one of those words that sounds gentle but holds the weight of 1,000 storms. It's not flashy, it doesn't trend, it's not loud or dramatic, but don't mistake its quiet nature for weakness. Patience is power, or relentless, unbreakable power. And in a world that glorifies urgency, instant results, and quick fixes, patience is becoming a lost art. But those who still carry it, who still believe in it, are the ones who truly understand the rhythm of greatness. We are constantly being told to hustle, to rush, to make it happen right now, and if it doesn't happen fast enough, we start to question ourselves. We think we're failing. We think we're falling behind. But nothing real, nothing lasting, nothing truly meaningful is ever built in a rush. Patience isn't the absence of ambition, it's the proof of belief. If you really trust your journey, your values, your work, then you don't panic over the delay. You prepare, you persist, you pace yourself because you know that timing isn't just important, it's everything. Some of the strongest people you'll ever meet are not the loudest ones in the room. They're the ones who keep showing up day after day, quietly doing the work, without applause, without shortcuts, without losing faith. They understand something most people don't, that the things worth having take time. That dreams don't die because they're impossible. They die because people give up too soon. And patience is what keeps you going when nothing else does. Think about nature. A seed doesn't sprout into a tree overnight. It stays underground in the dark, unseen, but that doesn't mean it isn't growing. That time in the soil, that stillness, that waiting, it's all part of the process. And if someone tried to rush it, to dig it up early, they'd destroy everything it was about to become. We're no different. Sometimes you're not stuck. You're just being rooted, grounded, strengthened for something bigger than you can currently see. Patience doesn't mean you sit still and do nothing. It means you keep working, keep growing, even when the results haven't shown up yet. It means you don't let frustration override your focus. It means you trust the pace of your purpose. There will be days when everything feels delayed, when effort feels wasted, when others move ahead and you feel invisible. That's when patience becomes your power. That's when your character is being shaped, because how you wait says more about you than how you win. There's a silent kind of courage in those who wait with integrity, the kind that doesn't get credit until much later. But when their time comes, and it always does, they're not just ready. They're solid, because they didn't just build skills. They built discipline. They didn't just chase success. They earned wisdom. And that kind of person doesn't just rise. They stay risen. Don't let the fast-paced noise of the world shake your timeline. Don't compare your chapter 2 to someone else's chapter 20. And don't let delays convince you that your dream isn't real. Some blessings take time because they require you to be someone stronger, wiser, more centered before you can receive them. And sometimes the wait is not because you're being punished, but because you're being protected. Not everything you want is good for you right now. Patience helps you grow into the version of yourself that can handle the full weight of what's coming. The truth is, anything rushed is rarely right. Real love, real purpose, real success. These things take time, they take layers, they take setbacks, and yes, they take patience. But when you've waited with grace, when you've walked the long road without losing your soul, the reward hits differently. Because it didn't just come to you, you grew into it. So if you're waiting right now, keep going. If the doors haven't opened, keep knocking. If nothing's moving, keep building. Patience doesn't mean giving up. It means believing that what you're working for is worth the wait, that your time is not wasted. It's just not yet. That the pause is not the end, it's the preparation. And one day, when everything clicks, when all the delays make sense, when what you prayed for finally arrives, you'll look back and realize that it wasn't just the outcome that mattered. It was who you became while waiting. That's the power of patience. It doesn't just deliver results. It builds you into someone who deserves them. There's a lie that's been told too many times, passed around like it's truth. It's the idea that if you are kind, if you're gentle, if you choose to care, you must be weak. That somehow to be good is to be naive. That standing for something pure is a sign that you don't understand how the world works. But let me tell you something. Goodness is not weakness, never has been, never will be. In fact, it's the strongest thing a human being can choose in a world that often rewards the opposite. It takes no strength to be cruel. It takes no intelligence to lie. It takes no real courage to manipulate or intimidate someone into silence. Anyone can do that. Anyone can lash out, get angry, or tear someone down. But to stay kind when you've been wronged, to remain honest when lying could give you an advantage, to forgive when you've been hurt. That is strength, quiet, undeniable, and incredibly rare strength. Some of the most powerful people to walk this earth have not been the loudest. They've not been the ones who pushed others down to climb. They were the ones who held the door open, even when no one thanked them. They were the ones who gave more than they had to, loved more than they were shown, and kept going. Not because life was easy for them, but because they refused to let the world change who they were. That's what real power looks like, not domination, but dignity, not force, but faith, and the truly strong, they don't need to shout to prove they matter. Their presence speaks through the choices they make every single day. When you choose to be good, you're not saying the world is perfect. You're not ignoring the pain, the betrayal, the injustice. You're simply saying, I refuse to become like the very thing I wish to change. And that is no easy decision. Because life will test you. People will take advantage of your softness. They'll mistake your grace for permission. And at times, you'll feel like the world is laughing at your kindness. Like it's a joke. Like you're losing the game because you're playing it with values. But here's the truth. The game isn't about winning quickly. It's about winning right. Anyone can win with tricks, with lies, with ego. But that kind of success doesn't last. It crumbles, it rots from the inside, because you can't build a meaningful life on a foundation of broken values. Being good does not mean being a doormat. It means choosing your response, not reacting with rage. It means having boundaries, not building walls. It means standing your ground, not by shouting louder, but by being unshakable in your principles. The world may underestimate you, but you don't need to shrink for its comfort. You don't need to harden yourself to be taken seriously. You just need to keep showing up, with truth, with integrity, with the courage to be fully human. In fact, goodness is revolutionary. In a time where everyone's trying to outsmart, outshout, and outshine each other, to be someone who simply shows up with heart, that's powerful. To be someone who chooses empathy over ego, kindness over cruelty, patience over pettiness, that's radical. And eventually, that's what people remember. Not who was the richest, the fastest, or the most feared, but who made them feel seen, who made them feel safe, who made them believe that goodness still exists. You will not always be rewarded for your goodness right away. You will not always be understood, but that doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. Some roads are lonelier because they lead somewhere real. Stay on that road, because when your moment comes, and it will, you won't need to convince anyone of your worth. Your life will speak for itself. Your goodness will have written a legacy no cruelty can erase. So don't dim your light to blend into a darker world. Don't soften your spirit just because others couldn't handle its purity. Let them call you soft. Let them call you too emotional. Let them laugh. But you keep going, you keep loving, you keep choosing good, because goodness is not weakness. It is resistance. It is strength wrapped in compassion. It is fire wrapped in grace. And in the end, it's not just the strongest thing you can be. It's the only thing that truly lasts. Truth doesn't need to shout, it doesn't rush, it doesn't chase validation, it waits, it watches, and when the dust settles, when the lies have crumbled, when the noise fades away, Ruth is the only thing still standing. It doesn't always win in the beginning, it often walks alone, but in the end, truth shines the brightest. We live in a time where appearances often matter more than authenticity, where illusions are crafted to perfection and lies wear designer labels. People are praised not for who they are, but for how well they perform. Success can be staged, smiles can be rehearsed, stories can be rewritten, and in all this, truth can feel forgotten, it can feel buried. You can be the one telling it and still feel like no one is listening, but here's what the world forgets. Lies are temporary. Truth is eternal. Lies might sprint ahead, but truth runs marathons. Lies can win the crowd, but truth wins time. Always, because the truth is not something you create. It's something that is, and when you align yourself with it, you become unshakable. It's not easy, telling the truth, living in truth, choosing truth. It will cost you. It might cost you opportunities, relationships, acceptance, comfort. It might isolate you. You may watch others lie, cheat, pretend, and succeed. You may feel foolish for doing things the right way while others take shortcuts. But remember, there is no peace in pretending. There is no real victory in deception, because the truth always comes back. It doesn't forget. It doesn't expire. It waits for its moment, and when it arrives, it doesn't just expose the lies. It elevates the one who stood by it. That's why holding on to truth requires courage, because it doesn't promise instant rewards. It asks you to be patient, to be steady, to be loyal, not to outcomes, but to your own soul, and that is where real power lies. Not in how many people agree with you, but in how deeply you know that you stood for what was real, that you didn't bend just to fit in, that you didn't trade truth for applause. And if you've ever spoken a truth that cost you, if you've ever stood alone while everyone else took the easy way out, if you've ever watched someone else win with a lie while you lost with your truth, this is for you. Hold on, stay firm, because time is the greatest filter there is. Eventually it reveals everything, and the very people who doubted you, dismissed you, disrespected your honesty, they'll see, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day, because truth doesn't fade. It only becomes clearer with time. Even in the darkest rooms, the smallest flame of truth cannot be hidden forever. It finds a way. It always finds a way. And when it does, it doesn't just light up the present. It rewrites the past. It redeems the moments when you thought no one understood, when you questioned if it was worth it. Because in the end, it always is. You see, truth is not just a virtue. It's a force. It restores, it realigns, it heals. It might break some things first. It might tear away what was never meant to last, but that's how it makes space for what's real. That's how it brings peace. Not the fake kind that comes from pleasing people, but the deep kind that comes from pleasing your own conscience. So don't be discouraged if your truth isn't welcomed right away. The world sometimes needs time to catch up, and don't water yourself down just to be understood by people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You don't need to change your truth to make others comfortable. You just need to stand in it and let your life be the proof, because the truth, your truth, has a light no lie can dim, and the people who walk in truth, even quietly, even slowly, are the ones who carry real influence. They don't have to force it, they don't have to fake it, they simply are, and the world eventually notices, and when it does, it doesn't just respect them, it remembers them. So speak your truth, live your truth. Even if your voice shakes, even if you're the only one doing it, because the truth doesn't need a crowd, it needs conviction, and in a world full of noise and illusion, a single voice rooted in truth can shake everything. Because in the end, no matter how dark it gets, truth shines the brightest.